because allergy season is full swing for me. Tonight, I wanted to share with you the books that I have been reading recently. And before I get into what I've been reading, I feel like I should just address the fact that for me, I have not been reading much. We're at the end of April, and I think I've read eight books total this year, which again, everyone has their own number, their own reading practice, their own pace, but for me, that is incredibly low. So let's get into it. Tonight, I will be discussing 5 of those 8 books. Here and there, I discuss the books I read on my Patreon, so like a few of these books have been discussed over there, but these are the 5 that I wanted to focus on tonight. So I'm gonna go in chronological order. The first book is this one. I didn't like any of the covers I could find for it, so I got a used hardcover and then took the dust jacket off. And that is for my cousin Rachel. By Daphne du Maurier. Just making sure I'm not holding it upside down. If you know me, then you know that I am a big Daphne du Maurier fan. Like, big time fan. I love her work. I love Rebecca. I love Don't Look Now. And I had not yet read. I read The Jamaica Inn and Frenchman's Creek, and I think that's it. I had not yet read My Cousin Rachel. So I just read it. I really, really liked it. I still think Rebecca is her best book. But this one is fantastic and well worth a read. It is about, it's a bunch of seconds, let me make sure I'm getting their names right. A young man named Philip, who is orphaned early in his life, and so he's raised by his cousin Ambrose, who's 20 years older than him. And they are like this, like father and son, but also like brothers. And for his health, Ambrose goes to Italy for the summer. This takes place in Great Britain in the early 1900s, I would say. And while Ambrose is in Italy, he meets this woman named Rachel, and they get married, and Philip has no understanding of their relationship or its nature and whether he was even like of sound mind when he married her. And then more information comes out that makes Philip doubt Rachel's motives. So it's a kind of gothic book, got some sinister threads woven throughout, and it has a lot of twists and turns, a few of which are like in your face twist. but they're still really satisfying. They feel like little narrative turns or reversals of the relationship between Philip and Rachel when they finally meet. He thinks one thing about her and then another. She thinks one thing about him and then another. There's a lot of reversals and turns like that that are really well done, and it's just a good story. So I really liked this one. After that, we had this bad boy, Marble in Metamorphosis by Rachel Cusk. It's by Rachel Cusk, but it's not just Rachel Cusk. There's a lot of photographs in this book of marble quarries and marble art. And the photographs are quite beautiful. So there's an essay in the beginning by Rachel Cusk on marble, and then more information in the back, kind of written as captions to, I believe his name is Chris Contos, his photography. Yeah. So then there'll be like a photograph and then lots of information on the side like that. And the essay is really good by Rachel Cusk. The beginning is just giving us atmosphere, right? But then as she goes on, she brings in different historical tidbits, I would say, about marble and how it was used in art. And I learned, for such a short essay, I learned quite a lot from it. About some marble statues, for example, that were kind of held hostage in this room when the rest of the building was being renovated and weren't rescued for quite some time. Or we think of marble as really austere and solid and unbreakable, but there are certain pressure points on a slab of marble or a block of marble that will weaken its integrity. Also for a stone that is so timeless, which comes from like its otherworldly like color and material, right? Sculptures were actually painted back in the day. So you'd have a marble sculpture that would be painted. So, say marble sculptures in a cemetery, nowadays that the paint is peeled off, look like they're meant to make or commemorate the lives of the deceased in a kind of timeless way. And marble as we know it now, without paint. But if you think about the same artworks painted, it's a totally different feeling. It doesn't feel timeless anymore. It feels more like the art was almost made to bring them back to life, or to make them look like they were standing in front of you. It's a totally different feeling. So I learned a lot about marble like that, and then a lot from the captions as well. And some of you may know I went to Greece last year, and so I feel like these photos really capture a lot of what I saw there, just in the architecture and the way marble is used in expensive ways and in inexpensive ways. Yeah, so I learned a lot from this actually, and I'm really glad I read it. I kind of got it on a whim. So it felt like unnecessary reading, but now that I've read it, I'm just really glad I have, and some of the ideas it introduced me to just have really stayed in my mind. After that, we have My Lesbian Novel by Renee Gladman. This goofy little guy just free-falling into this. I think of it as I was thinking of it as a pile of flowers, but maybe it's a pile of olives or rocks. I don't know. Of these five, this is my favorite book. This book is so good. So, it's very experimental in its form and structure. It's not quite fiction, not quite an essay. It's essentially a fictionalized interview between this author and a make-believe interviewer, combined with excerpts from a failed novel or a novel in progress. And she talks so brilliantly about her creative process in this fictionalized interview in a way that I love reading interviews with writers and painters and dancers, any artists. I love reading interviews about people's creative processes. I don't know why. Love it. Maybe because it feels like they're pulling the curtain back a little bit and you get to see how the sauce is made a little bit. Anyway, I just love the way her mind works. She talks about how she got into a moment, a habit of devouring lesbian romances, like genre romance, And she's a literary writer, like an artsy writer. And so hearing her talk about that was really delightful, and all the comfort it gave her, while at the same time she felt herself desiring happy endings for the queer characters in the books, and she hadn't really been in that world of queer romance novels, lesbian romance novels, so she didn't know that there had already been a huge push forward towards like happy endings for queer characters and all of that. But before she knew that push forward had happened, she was already wanting it, and so she was like a little behind almost in her experience and her exposure to that kind of literature or those kinds of stories. And then she just talks about how she writes and how she wants it to be not like step by step plotted out, but like alive and responsive and porous, so that the text is like in communication with her as she's writing it. And I just think she has a really brilliant mind, and it wasn't too sounds like she's just talking concept and theory all the time, but it really wasn't too high-minded like that. It felt very real and accessible, and just like a conversation that you're let in on, combined then with prose that is illustrating her point or like leading her to a new quandary. loved it. I've never read anything else quite like it, which is true, but not the main draw for me. The main draw for me is this woman's mind, which is like phenomenal. So, okay. So next, I read another book from the same press. This one is called Overstained by Adrian. This little dude. So this is a book about a visitor who comes to visit this woman who lets him stay. It is unclear if he is a human or a dog. He has like long brush fingers, but he can talk, and he has like jowls, and sometimes she's petting him, but sometimes he's like making breakfast. It's just really kooky. I loved the imagination in this, and actually my favorite part was the way the narrator talked about being from a small town and wanting to leave but never leaving, and how she obsessively talks about how she's gonna leave, she's gonna leave, she's gonna leave. That action, that talking about it, is almost like a stand-in for actually leaving. And that's a pretty strong through line in this, and I thought, I don't know, it just really resonated with me, and is a feeling that I don't carry with me, but like have at times, but not currently. Anyway, her imagination is goofy as all hell. It's bananas. And it's fun seeing where it goes next. I also really like that on the back she talks about her writing and how she imagines it as like a building or a house, and each section is just like walking into another room, another part, and seeing what's there. And it does build on itself in that way. It's short parts that build on themselves, and each one is like a little room. So I really liked this one. I don't know that I would reread it. It's not like a love for me, but I really liked it. It was very imaginative. And I just like people who want to push the envelope a little bit, or like push against, just like color a little outside of the lines kind of thing. So that was this for me. Okay, and then we have one more. I didn't think about what I was going to say in this video before this video, which has been fine up until this point, but now that we're getting to this book, I kind of wish I had thought about it, so I'm just going to do my best. It matches my nails. This is Liars by Sarah Mancuso. What do I want to say exactly? Well, first and foremost, I did like it. I liked it. It's about a heterosexual marriage. The relationship begins in a lusty, appreciative, generative, romantic way. then pretty soon it devolves into a woman married to a man, both of whom are artists, and she, even though she doesn't want to, becomes financially dependent on him because they're always moving around for his work, which prevents her from developing her career and limits her somewhat. And on top of that, she's basically in charge of every aspect of home care, child care, all the domestic labor falls to her. He is a bit of a man-child, I guess you could say. Her name is Jane, his name is John. So, it's fiction, but this is a, thinly veiled story from the author's life, as I understand it. I even think her middle name is the same as the character's name. Yeah, and I don't want to spoil it, but the elements of the story are from her life, in a way, right? But it's fiction, and I also read an interview with her where she was just saying that, she wants to maintain that it's fiction until her son is older, and she can have some conversations with him about some of the subject matter, especially as it pertains to her real life. So, it's fiction. It's full stop, and yeah. I really liked this book in the beginning and through to about a year, and then I still liked it, but not as much. It started to drag in a way that I didn't think was lending itself to the story. It's not like it dragged, but it was supposed to drag because the marriage itself was a drag, in my opinion. It's just a litany of things that he has done wrong, and the ways in which he has unknowingly and knowingly tried to trap her. And some of those examples were so specific and so good, and I loved reading them. And some of those examples were really enlightening to me, when the husband's mother dies, the wife's mother asks Jane, did you get any of John's mom's jewelry? And she's like, no, I'm a feminist, why would I want her jewelry? Come on, that's so antiquated. But her mom says something about no, that's how women pass power and capital on to one another in a system that does not allow for that. That really stuck with me. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. And I think it resonated with a lot of women. And I think that's right. That makes sense. I think it hit on something culturally that's not just going on, but has been ongoing. At the same time, I feel like the discourse around this book tends towards misandry, and men and women both suffer under the patriarchy. I hope this book is not just talking to the bad husbands, but also any marriage that's bad and that is based on some kind of power imbalance or domination. So I really liked it. I would highly recommend it. I think the back quarter for me really, even though a lot was happening and a lot of changes were occurring in the lives of the characters, it felt like stagnant to me personally. But it's an excellent book, a really worthy project and story, and I'm really glad I read it. And I do think that Saramago's is phenomenal. Also, the language is just really tight and concise and beautiful, very incisive. So I appreciated that as well. So those are 5 of the 8 books I've read this year so far. We are building towards more. I'd love to hear what you have read recently, what you have liked reading recently. I hope you are doing super, super, super well. And if you're not, that's okay too. I will talk to you very soon. And until then,